And good morning. It's noon. I'm a minute late. Oh my goodness, I couldn't get my finger to work on the phone today. So I apologize for that. This is our regular Lunch and Learn. And today we are going to talk about media manipulation. And in 2017, I think it is, maybe it's 2007. I'll find it in a minute. The industry spent $5.4 billion, 2007, $5.4 billion. I wonder how much it's spending right now in 2022. But we're talking about ads that are called uh, direct to consumer ads. And these are ads that you're watching on the television or you're watching or listening to on the radio is about medications. And one of the taglines is ask your doctor if this medication is right for you. Now, my husband and I, when we see this, my husband just looks at me and says, have you ever asked your doctor what medication you should take? And then you gave him the suggestion. And I said, no, I said, I really don't want to take medications. And so I go to my doctor because I don't know what I need. And I expect him to have the expertise that he has to lead me and guide me in the right way. Now, in full transparency, I have not been to the doctor in 15 years because I have not been ill. And so thank you, Jesus. I appreciate that. I do a lot for myself holistically. However, the advertising subliminally sets you up to feel like you need something. In 2020, I started researching herbs, right? And I had a book. This is not the book that I had, but it was a book similar to this. And in my evening, I would be reading through the book and I would see all these great benefits that these herbs and supplements had. And I would think, oh, I need one of those. And oh, I need one of those. And I think I just need to order one of everything because they're all just so good. And that's what advertising will do, that you have this subliminal, I need to improve myself. I need to make sure that I'm getting all that I need, that I'm being the best that I can be. And so when you're looking at something holistically, you're looking at a food based product. So you're not going to get into trouble with that. But when you're looking at medications, you're looking at things that are not organic. You're looking at things that are synthetic. Most often they are derived from a holistic herb or a plant or a food that does your body good, but they take the component that you get the benefit of and they synthesize it, they make it synthetic, and then it is sold through our drug company. So we just need to understand that we are very much being programmed and we are being manipulated. Now, when I was looking at this article, I did not know, but only the United States and New Zealand allow drug companies to advertise directly to the consumer. This is not allowed anywhere else in the world. So I wonder why. And so when we're looking at this, we're looking at the fact in 2022, the Georgetown University reported that 66% of the US population takes prescription drugs. The aging care, which I guess is a component of that, reported that 39% of seniors take 5 or more prescriptions per day. So I can attest to that because I see a great many seniors. Now, this is a report. You can do this report yourself. It is a Medscape report. You don't have to pay for it. You just have to log in, and your birth date and all that kind of stuff. You just have to log in. You don't have to pay for it. But what you can do is you can use their drug interaction checker to see what kind of adverse events that you have with this medication. So this particular patient had 20 different medications and he had 30 adverse reactions. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Now, why is this? Well, a lot of the reason that this happens is because they're going to multiple doctors, they're going to different pharmacies, and hopefully your pharmacist will look at everything you're doing, do something like this, and say, hey, Miss Jones, you're taking this, but you're taking this, and these two have a synergistic effect. And so you need to make sure that XYZ, whatever that is. Unfortunately, we don't do that because we found over 30 adverse reactions with this medication. I have to tell you, I was sitting here in tears because not only were there 20 medications, but there were also probably 20 to 30 different supplements that a previous holistic healthcare practitioner had suggested that he take. And I will just tell you, when we did his score, and you know that we now are using this biophotonic score scanner, not score. You take the palm of your hand, the heel of your hand, the side, you wrap it around this laser, and within 30 seconds, it tells you what your nutritional benefit is. Are you absorbing your nutrition? Is that converting to antioxidants? Because if it is converting to antioxidants, then your immune system is going to be strong. Well, his score was very, very low. And that just proved that all of these supplements that he was taking were not doing him any good. That's a lot of money that is wasted. That is a lot of effort and time that is wasted. And so this is why you need to enlist the help of a good professional so that you are not doing that. All right. We don't want you to be doing that. There are doctors and medical groups that oppose this direct to consumer advertising. They are concerned about the negative impact of commercially driven promotions and the role that marketing costs play in fueling the escalation of the drug prices. The AMA board chair elect, Dr. Patrice A. Harris, said, quote, direct-to-consumer advertising also inflates demand for new and more expensive drugs, even when these drugs may not be appropriate. Drug prices have become so high that in 2019, the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Reform launched an investigation into the pricing practices of 12 drug companies that sell the most costly meds. In 2021, the committee zeroed in on AbbVie. Now, this brand is spelled this way, ABB capital VIE. Okay, AbbVie. They have a blockbuster drug known as Humira. Now, I see ads on the TV all the time for Humira. It is a biologic drug. It is, it's for autoimmune diseases. I don't particularly like it. I'm not medical. I don't have really opinion. I'm looking at this. This particular drug's prices has been raised 27 times. It now costs $2,984 per dose. That's a lot of money per dose. I'm not sure if you take it once a week or if you take it once a month. Annually, if you have this prescription, annually, it's going to cost you $77,586. That is a lot of dollars. I don't know if your insurance company will pay for this or if it's something you have to do out of pocket. I know that there's always on the ad, if you can't afford this, reach out and they'll see what they can do to help you afford their drug. This company, AbbVie, did so well during the current healthcare crisis, can't say words because then we'll get banned, made $1.3 billion in the second quarter of 2001 because of virus test sales. $1.3 billion. So this company makes a lot of money. There are other questions besides the cost. The doctors are saying that these adverts they're stories, they're full of spin, they're full of misinformation. They make false, misleading, unsubstantiated drug claims. They make inadequate, incorrect, or inconsistent labeling information. They have omission or minimization of side effects, unsupported superiority claims, and the promotion of off-label uses. Now, what is an off-label use? It would be a drug that you take for, let's say, cardiovascular disease. That's what it says. But if you look at the patient information or you look at it online, whatever you're looking at, all the way down at the bottom, it'll say off-label uses are for eczema or wart control or whatever the deal is. So they are promoting these drugs for off-label uses, which are not what they're supposed to be used for. Critics of direct-to-consumer ads have accused them of disease mongering. The drug makers are expanding markets for new products by extending the boundaries of treatable illnesses. In a Hofstra University Law School paper, Dr. Lipman wrote, "We all know that for many illnesses, especially those with no telltale markers, there is a huge gray zone between normal and abnormal." Now, what does that mean? So when you're looking at your blood work, if your blood work is set up that if you are in this range, you're not in a disease process. But if you're out of that range, then you are in a disease process. And these are the different diseases that could mean. Those are markers. Those are biomarkers in your blood work. We look at that because we want to see what your blood is telling us. However, there are diseases that you cannot tell that you have them via your blood work. And here are some of those: bipolar disease, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, restless leg syndrome, erectile dysfunction, premenstrual dysphoric disorder are really good examples of diseases that are fair game for the pharmaceutical hucksterism to persuade people with barely a suggestion of one of those disorders to demand a prescription of the advertised drug. Now, Lipman has served as chief medical advisor for Consumer Reports for 51 years. So she knows what she's talking about because she just has a lot of experience there. Some have objected to the changed dynamics between doctor and patient in the DTC advertising creates, sometimes reducing doctors to, quote, order takers or, quote, gatekeepers, despite the doctor's superior knowledge compared to the patient. And I don't care how much you research, and I do want you to research. I don't want you to research Dr. Google. I want you to research EDU sites. I want you to research PubMed. I want you to research CDC to see what the studies really show. And I know we can't understand, or we can't take as gospel everything that we read, but at least if you're reading something on PubMed, you're getting something that is peer reviewed, that has gone through the review process of several experts in the field. And so you can pretty much trust what they are saying. If you're just doing Dr. Google, or you're just watching the advertising and you're saying, oh, yeah, that could be me, and you call up your doctor and you say, I want this XYZ prescription because I have the symptoms that are on the television, this puts pressure on your doctor. The medical schools are now teaching doctors how to do a polite refusal when their patients call them up with these pressurizing techniques that they want this particular drug because of something that they saw on the television. Now, not only are they advertising drugs, but they're also doing what they call unbranded ads. That means they're talking about disease processes and they're saying, go to your doctor to get whatever, but they're not necessarily saying the brand name. You need to go see your doctor, yeah, blah, 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 but they don't give you the brand name. This is called unbranded ads, and they're selling a disease, not a drug. Now, I find this to be very, very disturbing. I find it to be very, very upsetting that we would want to convince people that they are sick. I will tell you, in the past 2 years, when we had all of this government go get tested and all that kind of thing, I looked at my husband and I said, when have we ever gone to get tested when we had no symptoms? It doesn't make sense. I go to the doctor when I have a symptom that I cannot resolve at home. That has not happened to me in 15 years. All right. I don't know when the last time it happened to you. Hopefully, you're not watching these ads and taking on these disorders and then going to your doctor. The article says this advertising relies on subliminal messaging and innuendo, but selling prescription drugs is a lot more consequential than selling shampoo. It can lead to overdiagnosis, overutilization of the healthcare system, and overtreatment. Ads that raise awareness of a disease are especially problematic. They're called unbranded advertising because they don't mention the name of the drug, as I said, and they appear to be important messages from the government maybe even the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Patients may not be able to attribute this information that is coming in from a company with a clear profit motive. Now, none of us want to think that the drug companies have a profit motive, but if you're not making money, you're not going to be in business. So every business has an objective to make money. We don't want to make money off of someone's illness, and we certainly don't want to inflate the situation to make people scared so they run out and they buy things. That's just not ethical. And that's what they're saying about this kind of advertising. It's not ethical because these people, they're open to suggestion, and there are whole college courses that are out there that teach you how to manipulate people to doing what you want them to do, especially in marketing and advertising. So we don't want to be the victim of that for sure. There is an epidemiologist in Brigham and Women's Hospital that says that people are manipulated based on motive, but it's so well hidden that they don't know. One example, and this really just gets under my collar here, one example of a well-funded, unbranded drug campaign is the drug company AbbVie. We've heard of them before. Promotion of the awareness for exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, dubbed EPI. She says, no doctor I have ever interviewed has treated anyone with EPI, yet the ads imply that this condition is a major public health issue. Has anybody ever heard of EPI? I had not heard of it. It stands for exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. Okay, I lost my word there. So what does that mean? That means that your pancreas, all of us have a pancreas, your pancreas's main job is to secrete enzymes that help you digest your food. As we get older, because we have the standard American diet, most of us eat the standard American diet, which is a poor diet. We use up all of our enzymes because we eat garbage food and we need a lot of enzymes to digest it. So by the time we're 30, almost everybody needs digestive enzymes. So is there a need for pancreatic enzymes? Yes. As a holistic practitioner, I can tell you there is a need for it. Now, the ad ends with the couple looking at each other and asking in unison, could I have EPI? So after they raised awareness, they rolled out a drug, and the drug was called Creon, Creon. It was an EPI drug that contains pancreatic enzymes, and it costs $1,000 per refill. Now, just to give you some perspective, here is a bottle of enzymes, okay? It costs $42. There is enough in there for a month. So a prescription of a synthetic product. Now, what does this, I have it on my computer because I wanted to look at it. What does this drug have? And remember, it's synthetic, probably made out of petroleum products because that's usually what our pharmaceuticals are made out of. Protease, this is protease. This is protease, $42. Amylase and lipase. Now, this is a proteolytic enzyme. We want you to do this for inflammation. We have other enzymes on the shelf that have lipase, amylase, protease, bromelain, probably 6 or 7 different enzymes, and it's like $40 for a month. And so this kind of like got my hackles up. They're creating a market for this drug that is a synthetic drug, $1,000 per month, when you can get pancreatic enzymes from your local health food store for $50 or less. So you just need to be aware that we're being manipulated. We are being manipulated. Unbranded drugs can also use scare tactics to sell a heart drug. An unbranded Novartis TV ad depicts a man with rising waters around his armchair and the narrator saying, with heart failure, danger is always on the rise. about 50% of people die within 5 years of becoming diagnosed. And so this engenders fear. Fear suppresses your immune system. So we don't want to get into fear. So I just want to raise awareness here. We want you to understand that we are being manipulated. All of us with all advertising are being manipulated. I remember when I was in college and I was taking a psychology course, and they were talking about subliminal messaging in the advertising videos that we see on television. Now, this was in the 1970s, guys. They're much more sophisticated now. We not only have our regular radio and television advertisement, but we also have social media advertisement. And you know, if you're paying attention, you can be sitting talking to a girlfriend and say, oh, I wonder about XYZ. And the next little minute you turn on your phone or you go to Facebook, you're going to have what? You're going to have an ad for that. Why is that? Because they are always listening and they're trying to appeal to what you think that you might need. So we need to understand that we are being manipulated. We need to be smarter than the advertising companies. If you think you've got a serious sickness and disease, by all means, go to your doctor. Get your requisite blood test. See what the markers are in your blood test. We recommend that people that come and see me, we recommend that they bring their blood work. Why is that? Your blood work is a marker in time of where you are chemically. I'm looking at the blood work to see not only are you out of the reference range, but are you trending out? Because if you're trending out, then you're most likely headed toward a disease process. And if you change the way you eat, you change the way you live, you get all the drama out of your life, it's easy to reverse that process. When you go to a medical doctor, if you're within the range, even though you're at the edge of the range, they're not going to do anything for you in most cases because that's not their training. They're trained to manage the disease process, where holistic people are trained to reverse the trends toward a disease process. And how do you do that? Do you tackle the disease with pharmaceuticals? No. You tackle the health conditions that need to be addressed because of poor nutrition. And so this is why we have the scanner. This is why we do the things that we do, because we want you to be healthy. We don't want you to have to pay $1,000 a month for a prescription that may or may not do what it needs to do. Now, the final thing that these advertising companies do is they enlist celebrities as pitch people. And the campaigns are also unbranded. They don't really recommend a drug. They just say, oh, I have psoriasis and I am now all better because I went to my doctor and I have medication. That's the one I'm specifically talking about does mention a specific drug, but there are other ones that do not. They are unbranded. And so we need to make sure that we're not being manipulated. The final paragraph says, because direct-to-consumer advertising is a cash cow, get that, cash cow for media outlets and drug makers, it's not likely to go away anytime soon, despite the concerns of doctors and the American Medical Association itself. However, for many people now taking prescription drugs for diseases that they weren't even aware of before direct-to-consumer advertising should not blind us to the significant effects of this powerful mode of advertising. Now, this was an article written by Martha Rosenberg. She is a nationally recognized reporter and author whose work has been cited by the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, Mayo Clinic Proceedings, the Public Library of Science Biology, National Geographic, and Wikipedia. All right. She did an expose, and it was, quote, titled, Born with a Junk Food Deficiency, that was widely praised and established her as a prominent investigative journalist. Okay. So you want to talk to people or listen to people like that who have done their due diligence. They've been proven that they're not doing the hype and the spin and that kind of thing. Because why? Because you are the person that is responsible for your health, not your doctor, not your mother, not your husband, not anybody else. It's Me. I am responsible for my own health. I want to be informed. I want to know when I'm being manipulated. I want to know what my alternatives are. Why would I pay $1,000 a month for this prescription when I can pay $40 a month for a holistic product, right? Why would I do that? A lot of people come in and they don't want to do holistic because this is what they tell me. My insurance covers my prescriptions. Well, yes, it does. You are taking into your body something that is synthetic, something that in most cases is only going to mask the disease process because it is going to take away your symptom. We go to the doctor because we have a symptom. When we take a medication, a lot of times, and I'm not telling you not to take your medication, that's not my job. What I'm telling you, a lot of times we're taking a medication, the medication suppresses the symptom. That's like driving your car and a warning light comes on. You get under the hood, you remove the fuse so that warning light doesn't come on. Have you corrected the problem? No, you have not. All you've done is removed the symptom, removed the warning light. And this is what a lot of the medications do. Again, I'm not telling you not to take your medication. That's between you and your doctor. What I'm telling you is to be informed, look around for alternatives if that's what you want to do. But basically, be aware that we are being fed a lot of storylines to get us to open up our wallet so that we can give these drug companies and these media advertising companies more of our hard-earned dollars. So I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions, let me know. It is the weekend, and we always say this: practice self-care, because if you don't calm down, if you don't rest, if you don't recover in the weekend, then you're not going to be good for anybody or anything if all you're doing is just being on that hamster wheel, just work, 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 work. So rest and recover, do some self-care, know that we love you, we care about you, and we're here for you. I will see you next week.